Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She's like the mirror in our lives. It's like she holds up the mirror so we see ourselves and then we see others as well and then understand what's going on in our minds and why we do things. She's an amazing psychotherapist. And back with us today, we're going to focus on people who are controlling. Why do they do it? Maybe we're one of those people and maybe we don't even realize it. We're going to dig into that today with Susie Engel, who joins us. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. I was like, no, we're not controlling. No, no,
You
no.
know, as
But you never know.
well, this is where my mind is going. It's like I think to myself, am I controlling? I don't know, but I don't think I am. But we'll figure this all out for all of us today. Um,
Yeah.
how do you define a controlling person?
Oh boy. So I think, wow, that's a huge question, Steve. So what is a controlling person? I think there are several probably hallmarks that start cluing me in.
Hmm.
One would be a certain level of rigidity, like somebody who just can't go with the flow, who isn't really flexible about certain things and just
Hmm.
needs things to be a certain way. And if you don't do it their way, his or her way, you could be up against quite the maybe a shaming experience
Hmm.
or maybe that type of controlling experience where somebody might infer that you're doing something wrong
Or
just
maybe
because
guilt,
you do
putting
it.
guilt on you because you didn't adhere to what they were trying to accomplish within their efforts to control.
And guilt, yes. But to me, a person who is controlling um, is somewhat disruptive as well. So
Hmm.
things like there may be a small group or a conversation even between the two of us, and somebody who's controlling may interject in a way that's disruptive, and
Hmm.
interfering rather than open-minded. And for me, the biggest thing is because this is one of my um, methods of understanding is to always be wondering what's beneath the surface. And so for me, when I meet with somebody in life, meet up with somebody in life who is controlling, I think, I wonder how they might be out of control internally.
Hmm.
Whether they have overwhelm or maybe they have 5,000 emotions at the same time. And then I wonder like how unaware they must be of being internally out of control, and then they have to act controlling outwardly. So that's like, I don't know if I really made a definition, but those are some of the hallmarks, I think. Did
Uh,
I miss anything?
no, and I'm laughing because I had a conversation with somebody last night about somebody in their life who is controlling, um, or at least they feel they are.
Mhm.
And everything you described is what they said, right down to disrupting the situation. So this person is an in-law, and every time, some family members get together, this is just one of the, I don't want to say tactics, but one of the
That's okay.
one of the situations that arises, and my friend is always waiting for it, but this person will wait to the very end of dinner where, things are already being decided, and the person will jump in and say, yeah, let me get half. I'll pay half that bill for you. And does it every single time. And my friend's like, no, it's all right. We're good with that. But it's almost as if that person wants to control it and get it. And here's the other hallmark, and I'm curious if you've seen this. It's attention. Attention. So look at me. I'm going to pay for half of it, everybody. At least I made an effort. I'm going to pay for half of it. And there was another time where this person, it's an in-law, offered to, as a gift, pay for windows in a home, of my friends, but you had to use this one vendor.
Oh, yeah.
Why? And
That's
apparently there was a
controlling.
connection back in the day or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's almost like a passive aggressive, here's a bag of money, but I'm going to tell you how to spend it.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think that nails a lot. And I like what you're pointing out, and just look at how innately you understand this. Somebody needs attention. So being controlling, I think, is also one of the crux of the matter is, I just didn't make a sentence just now. However, I think controlling people often are loud and clear that their psychosocial needs haven't been met. And we've talked about those psychosocial needs. It's not just attention. It's like, didn't they get enough psychosocial needs met when they were coming up in the world as a child? So then as an adult, when it turns into this controlling nature that is disruptive and that is, I love the example of, here, I'll pay for windows, which is such a generous and
Huge.
beautiful gesture. And then it's totally tackled at the knees by the same person
Yes.
to
Yes.
say, and I'll tell you what company and how to go about that. Like
And
that's
my friend took the offer. This is years, many years ago, put the windows in and was sitting there one night and you could see the curtains blowing with the window closed. So I had to call a company up. There was an issue. They had to come in. They never insulated. Blah, 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 blah. Could have happened to anyone anytime, but it's almost kind of funny that, my friend was pigeonholed into using the said company, because you don't want to turn the money away. We need windows. What the heck,
oh my
but
gosh, and that's big.
yeah,
Windows
right.
on a
Yeah.
house. Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's funny.
they weren't premium windows. Let's just say that.
Well, we figured that when the curtains
I
were
know,
moved
it's true.
without the windows being open. But the other thing also is, when people offer to be generous in one way or another, it's not generosity when somebody is controlling, because it usually sets a scenario where somebody feels obligated, or that they owe the person, or they're kind of tied to this person because of this transaction, let's say.
Mm.
So that's like a whole nother part of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good topic for us to talk through. But I like what you're saying about the attention seeking, because they haven't had their needs met as a child, and so now they've adapted in these morphed ways in adulthood that are not social.
And we'll never know, what this person's upbringing was.
No,
And I'm not judging
I,
anybody. I'm just stating some facts
me
that
either.
I heard, so I'm just
Yeah,
trying to understand it. Um,
yeah.
but
No,
that being
you're not.
said,
Yeah.
apparently this person needs attention, because even with paying half the bill, it's not a, it's not a, I'm going to go talk to the waitress. Nobody will know. And then when the bill comes, it's half. It's a show. I've got half of that for you. Let me get half. Let me get. It's a big announcement at the table at the restaurant. You could even call the restaurant in advance. Listen, my name is. We're going to be. We have 7 p.m. reservations.
I
It's a party
know.
of 5. Blah 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 blah. And I want to pay the bill or half. You know what I said to my friend? I said next time that situation comes up, call him out on it and say, you know what? Why don't you pay the entire bill this time? And I'll
I
get
was
paid.
thinking the same thing.
I'll get it next time. Just for
No,
the,
don't even say I'll get it next time. That's the I owe you.
well,
No,
okay.
I was thinking the same thing. Now that you know the pattern,
Well, yes.
now
They
that you
wait
know the
for it.
pattern, hey, take the whole thing
Why
and
don't you take it
thank
all?
you.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you. And thank you. Right.
Yeah,
Mm.
they'll be sorry.
So what else? What else is going on here with controlling people, and not in this situation, but narcissism? We've talked about that before. There's an element of control in a relationship involving somebody who's a narcissist, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, narcissists are controlling, right? They have to manipulate and control because they have to. I mean, narcissists are like bullies on steroids,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
They have to twist everything so that they can gaslight everybody. And they kind of, I use this word a lot during our podcast conversations. They have a way of injecting insecurity and doubt in others. But the issue is, and even when you started today by saying, oh, maybe we are controlling, to me, the to be able to plug in and notice when I feel out of control, and then observe myself, Susan Engel, how I act in a given situation. Am I controlling? I think that's a good question.
Mm.
I think
I
it's a good question. I don't have a problem looking at myself with critical analysis.
I'm actually thinking about this within ourselves, as I'm sure others are, like looking at different scenarios. Where would I be controlling? How am I controlling that? Um, Even when a lot of times with one person, if I'm going to go, go to a restaurant or whatever, I will make suggestions. I'll say, I don't care where we go. Here's a couple of different ideas for you. And the person will make a suggestion. I'm like, I'm fine with that. Something else will pop up in my head. Oh, don't forget, there's also, the place on Main Street that if you like that, and then they'll say, well, you're trying to control it. And I say, I'm not. I want you to have all the options. You pick it. I'm good with any one, but I'm not
Yeah,
controlling it. I'm just giving it
no.
information.
And that's actually a great example. I have a children's group here at the office, and one of the children is, I'm trained to look beneath the surface and understand what everybody is attempting to, um, uh, express, which is not what's on the surface. And this works really, really well for people of all ages. But there's this one child in the group who comes off, her image is to be controlling. But deep down, she's just one overwhelmed little person. And the overwhelm, which feels like out of control on the inside, comes out as being externally controlling. So we were doing a kind of a exercise to regulate ourselves, and she volunteered to read. Now, she was reading some heavy duty stuff while we were doing this exercise, so I was interjecting to interpret what it all meant, because these are little kids and there are words like parasympathetic and all sorts of interesting things. I
Oof.
would have edited it, but she was literally reading. And I
Wow.
wasn't sure she was understanding what she was reading.
Had to
And
be super, super cute though at the same time.
oh my gosh, it was the most adorable. If I had a nanny cam, it would have been the cutest thing in the world. When I interjected to translate for the rest of the group and for her and for myself, she said, I'm not finished. I'm not finished. And you had to continue and continue and continue. And then, at the end, she did some sort of like thing with her energy and her body, and I was mirroring her, and she was saying, why isn't the rest of the group doing this? So she's a little kid, and I know her background, and I know she feels out of control about some of the circumstances in her life.
Hmm.
It's a big deal for her. Maybe not for the adults, but for her it's a big deal you know so
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting. And you making suggestions is a similar example. It's like, well, then the question is, why do people, like, why did that person think when you made a suggestion about another restaurant, why did they label that? I think that people misuse words. Why did
Potentially, and I said it again that I don't care where we go. You pick it. I'm good with anything. I'm just giving information. Like,
Options.
yeah, options. Thank you. Maybe they didn't think of the Mexican place on Main Street, or whatever it is. Whatever
Right.
pops in my head. Blah, 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 here, pick one or your own. I'm good. Just tell me where we're going. That's it. I'm not trying to control it. And I even say, if I really want to go somewhere or do so, I'll tell you. I'll
Yes.
be very upfront in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't really care where we went.
Well, and then that leads us to another issue about controlling people, which may also be part of the definition, is it's probably very difficult for controlling people to trust. And so because they
Hmm.
can't trust and regulate themselves, then they have this method or their pattern of having to control everything
Wow.
because they can't trust. I mean, that makes sense, no?
I never thought about that. That's a whole other, and I guess maybe cut the controlling person, not the narcissist, but the controlling person a little bit of slack because there's a trust issue within them.
Yeah.
And it's sad wherever that came from. And we all have stuff. Let's
Yes.
be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never thought of it that there's a trust issue there.
Well, and if you think about that more and let that settle probably till next week when we meet, you'll probably come up with more connections about that,
Hmm.
as as I will. And I mean, I've thought of this connection before anyway, because I think it's all interrelated. If there's no foundation of trust, then one way we demonstrate that is to act controlling or act submissive. Or I mean, there's all sorts of things, but we don't have to get off track of this. But I was going to say something else about this. Um, yeah, it just flew out of my head, but it'll come back.
Is
Yeah.
there other reasons that people control? Like we identified a few here. What else is going on within somebody? Why they have to take
Oh,
hold of a situation?
yeah. I mean, so part of it might be um, I can't trust. I can't trust that other people are going to figure it out. So I better have it all figured out. That's a lot on somebody's
Trust.
shoulders. Ooh,
Mm,
that's a lot, right? That's part of it. But the other, you know, I, this isn't addressing what you just asked, but the thought that kind of flew out of my head a second ago was it's not maybe the descriptor that's a controlling person isn't always or is misused.
mm,
So maybe if we cut to the chase and we said, wow, it seems like that person is struggling to accept their emotions, or it seems like this person, um, has a hard time to trusting other people, or it seems like this person isn't really attuned to himself or herself. Maybe if we started getting really descriptive, we wouldn't use the word controlling as often,
mm.
right?
It is
Maybe,
such a negative now, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, oh, and we've talked about negativity too.
Yeah, just to say that somebody, yeah, they're controlling. As soon as you say that, you've already set the stage that if this is a bad thing, this person can be potentially annoying, challenging, self-centered, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I just find it fascinating when all of the reasons why somebody may conduct themselves that way.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if somebody, I mean, it's kind of like and we talk a lot about anxiety in our podcast conversations
Mm,
because it's just a heavily used term. And
sure.
my thing is, what if we didn't use these words and use the actual, for one person, like I just said, oh, it seems to me that that person just feels so out of control internally. What if we actually said that about a person or my in-law, I don't,
Hmm.
that in-law you're talking about. What if we said, geez, it seems like she didn't have her needs met, or he didn't have his needs met, and he has to like act in a way that, you know, kind of I think I heard this from a sports announcer, sucks all the energy out of the room.
Mm,
That's a controlling person. But
mm.
there are so many facets of being controlling. Maybe if we got more descriptive, it'd be even more curious for people. And they'd start thinking a little bit even more broadly about this.
Yeah, the
Maybe
other one is a fun suck. Takes the fun out. And that's the in the dinner. My friend was even having anxiety, some level of anxiety, anticipating the end of this meal, knowing what was coming, knowing what I got half of it. Oh yeah, let me get half. Knew was waiting, just waiting, like and timing it, waiting
thank
for the
you. Yeah.
right. We think the same like that. I like
Yeah.
take her up on it. Go, grab her money.
When you said pay for the whole thing, that would be our pleasure. Oh my gosh, I think that would have been fantastic, especially when you know to anticipate. But look at your friend who's already getting stressed about this is also feeling that person's stress. So, great to be prepared for it, but I'd really get prepared and figure out what is my way of handling this. And you and I already know how we would handle it.
Mm.
Just
Yeah,
like,
I don't. I wouldn't have any issue in saying, why don't you pay? I would appreciate it if you paid all of it.
yeah,
What do you go? What is that person going to say? Just you lean back and you wait. Well, I can't afford it. Okay, well, we'll take the half
then
then.
let's split it.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Guarantee if somebody just took a breath and responded to a controlling person with stability,
Mm,
because really
hmm.
that's what you're describing,
Yeah.
guarantee that controlling person will be different the next time they're with us.
And I don't condone anything, but I have to tell you, Susie, after us talking today, I see people who are controlling in a different light, having some understanding where because we identified some of the reasons that they are controlling. It's not that they're bad people or just bad people. There's reasons, trust issues, on and on and on that they may have endured from the past that got them to the point of controlling. So yeah, I cut them a little bit of slack, but now we
No,
understand.
listen, we have to understand that. And I'm not making an excuse for people or saying it's pleasant to be with people, but it's good for us to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Then
Yeah.
we feel more settled.
100%. And situations aren't uncomfortable when you understand it. You push it to the side as opposed to getting anxious or angry, in
Yes.
these situations.
And
Hmm.
also, that controlling person is not a reflection of us. We didn't,
We never should ever forget that in almost all, thank you for saying that. In almost all of these situations, it's not us. It can be to a degree, but not always. But we internalize it, that that's others. You can't control others. It's on them. On them.
right, right. Very
Wonderful.
liberating.
There's a great word. Wonderful talking with you today. Best way to find you, Susie, if somebody wants to unpack some of this stuff, and it can be done virtually anywhere.
Oh, yes. My website is Susan. I have to always think Susan Engel LCSW.com. So it's SUSANENGEL hyphen LCSW.com.
I'm not controlling, but I have to end this podcast because they're going to give me the sign from the other room. It is what it is.
Thank you
Thank you, and we'll catch up next time. Okay,
for sure.
appreciate it.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.